Arms. Arms, you sick fuck. I used to have sticks for arms, and while that's not the case anymore, I'm still not satisfied. Because size does matter. It's all that matters. In society, you get into dick measuring contests all the time, but you can't actually take it out and measure it, can you? Well, these biceps, you can. Alright, in all seriousness, I have big goals for my physique this year, with my arms being one of the highlights. But as someone who's been lifting naturally for about 8 years, I know that if I want to make any noticeable changes, I need to give this thing everything I have. This is my physique today. I know, right? Looks nothing like 6 months ago. I dieted for 1.5 years straight for that last show. And after that, I didn't diet at all. I didn't track any food. I ate high protein and carbs intuitively, and I watched my weight a bit. But I did put on more fat than was necessary, even though I still built some muscle. While I did put on fat too quickly, which isn't optimal, sometimes not being optimal is the most optimal thing you can do. My goal this year is to get bigger arms, chest, and quads. I'm going to show you exactly how I plan on doing that so that you can learn too. While I always wanted to emulate old school aesthetics, my body just naturally ended up going the modern route anyway. And Arnold and Sebum are great examples in comparing old school versus modern classic aesthetic. As you see here, the main difference in the upper body is the shoulders are bigger today, and that tends to kind of overpower the rest of their physique. Not to knock his physique at all. It's phenomenal. But when you have smaller shoulders, it really lets your arms pop, your chest pop, everything else. And my shoulders have grown at a pretty nice rate. So while I enjoyed boulders, I want to have bigger arms and I want a bigger chest. Now going on to the lower body, definitely legs have become more of a focus today. And I think that's a good thing, and I like that. Now, I don't want my quads to be the best of my muscle groups, but I definitely do want to give them more attention. So this is why I set up my goals that way. Alright guys, it's time to nerd out, tell you what the training split is, and exactly how it's going to accomplish each of my goals. Over time, I found a 5-day training split works best for me, not only for my lifestyle, my schedule, but also for my recovery ability. I'm still training every muscle twice a week, but my exercise order, selection, volume is definitely going to favor growing my chest, arms, and quads without putting the other muscle groups completely on the back burner, aka maintenance. The split allows me to train arms fresh twice a week, which is very important as whatever you train first gets the highest quality effort, highest quality stimulus. The arm day is especially nice because I have time to train forearms without spending over an hour in the gym. I'm keeping the volume tame to start as my arms are going to get indirect work from heavy presses and pulls as well as my heavy carries, which I'll get into a bit later. Now for my chest, I'm also training it first both days, and I'm using dumbbell presses, both flat and incline, as my key lifts to track progression for not only precision, because I actually feel a great connection on my chest with them, but also symmetry, as my left pec is unfortunately a little bit bigger than my right, which is why I picked dumbbells to make sure one side isn't overcompensating for the other. Now for quads, nothing too crazy here. What I used to do was barbell squats and leg press, but because of my anatomy, because my femurs are long, to maintain bar path, I have to shift the weight pretty far back and it ends up targeting my glutes and hams more than I want it to. So I picked pendulum squats because it will bias my quads the fullest as well as allow me to focus on tempo control. Now if your gym doesn't have a pendulum squat, don't worry, hack squats are just as good. Now here's the actual exercise list, sets, reps, order, everything. And as you see, I start with my chest on torso. But because your lats can never be too big, I'm doing frontal plane lat pull down second and then finishing off chest. Then I finish off the upper back and finally shoulders because I don't really care for them. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, holy cardio, why is everything not in the 4 to 8 rep range? Shut up. Now, most of my lifts are in the heavy to moderate rep range, whatever lets me target the muscle the best, but I do like to sprinkle in a little bit of high rep work to not miss any potential benefits inspired by many old school bodybuilders, and I don't form my decisions solely based off research papers. Now let's talk rest days. As you see, it's not entirely a rest day. I'm still doing some training. And one secret thing I'm working on this year is I want to build my working capacity, which is why I'm experimenting with heavy carries right now. They're farmer walks with heavy dumbbells to do just that. This is also going to give some stimulus to my traps, shoulders, and even a little bit of arms as I'm holding on to 100-pound plus dumbbells that I can barely carry for 30 seconds. Other than that, I'm also training my calves and abs on my rest days as I have an apartment gym at home, so I'd rather just train them at home and save the rest of my time for other muscle groups while I'm in my main gym. Now for chest and back. As you see, chest starts first. And then, again, I go into back because I want to get my heavy barbell rows out of the way. And while I'm working with a barbell, I also get the shrugs out of the way too. So then I finish off chest and lat pullovers. This is kind of my upper back focused day as well. Now for my arm day. I'm starting with biceps first because I want to focus on my bis a little more than my tris. So I do them first. And I start with single arm dumbbell preacher curls, which let me really isolate and blast those biceps. Then I go into hammer curls, which is still good for biceps, but also builds the brachialis and bit of the forearm. Just overall great arm thickness. Then I start with tricep cable extensions, single arm, because I really want to focus on the long head of my tricep. And before you go, oh my God, overhead's more optimal. Why are you not doing that? My triceps are pretty strong to the point any load that I can do for up to 12 reps just gives me shoulder discomfort when done overhead. And that takes away from the quality of the effort I put in. So I just do them the standard way. I'm still pretty science-based. As you can see, I'm doing unilateral isolation of the long head before my standard tricep pushdown. I think it's a wise thing to do when you want to emphasize a certain portion, so I do it. Then I go into forearms, and I'm starting low volume because I've never trained them before. I'm going to start low and slowly see to add more sets as long as I can recover from it. Keep in mind, I also do heavy carries, which is taxing on the forearms. And one of my rest days, I'm going to do them without wrist wraps, which really lights my forearms on fire. So we'll see how that goes. Now for my leg day. Start with pendulum squats. Then I go into hip thrust because I also do want to grow my glutes a little bit. I feel like they're lagging behind. Then I go back to finishing off the quads and then back extensions, then finally hamstring curls. My hamstrings are pretty damn strong and they are getting worked from the hip thrusts as well. So I'm keeping the volume low because I've found over time I just can't recover when I push it too much compared to my quads. And that's the plan. So my arms are currently 16 inches flexed, no pump. And the goal is to hit 17 by the end of 2026. I will be making little to no changes, only as needed to this plan. It's important that once you have a plan, lock it in and run it. It takes months to really get some use out of it. Don't change things here and there all the time. Leave a comment if you have a question or if you're curious about anything that I covered. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.